G'day folks, Rod from My Water Filter here today, and just having another chat with Wayne, and basically we're just discussing how much our water has deteriorated here in this country. And I've seen it myself over the last 30-40 odd years. It just isn't the same. It's a fair call, Wayne. Yeah.
Once we understand why water is deteriorating, it becomes a little clearer, but we first have to understand water to do this. And that is, water quality is initiated originally by the hydrological system. So we must ask ourselves, when water goes up into the atmosphere and comes back down clean, well, used to, what is that happening? How is that done in nature? And once we understand that, we could firstly understand why we're in problems, and we can understand maybe how Grander overcame those problems to a degree. He can overcome those problems in your house or your waterway, but he can't overcome them worldwide until we start to get worldwide interest in what he achieved. And that is that basically he replicates what we call the hydrological system by sun, energy, structure, oxygen, biologics. So in other words, if you asked what cleanses the water in the atmosphere, is biologics. You know, science just discovered a little while ago that there's so much more bacteria in clouds than they thought. Well, of course they are, because clouds are water. That's where your biologics stops and starts. The reason for the deterioration is simply when we pollute something, we reduce the structure, and the structure changes and is no longer orderly, it's chaotic. Locking up oxygen. Locking up oxygen and not allowing the immune system, the good bacteria, to do the cleansing. Good bacteria are 91% efficient at cleansing water. Anaerobic or bad bacteria is 45% efficient. And what happens is, if we stay around the 50-60%, we're not catching up. We're not overcoming the pollution because we aren't high enough in that percentage, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And if we looked at the deterioration in water, we would simply say that that is due to this atmospheric pollution. Has got a great lot to play in it, because that's where nature does our water treatment. Nature does it in the atmosphere, passes it on to running creeks and those sorts of things to pick up energy, to expose it to sunlight and those sorts of things. So basically, and this is why science in recent times have found that, you know, the fish in the harbours aren't having babies anymore in Sydney. That was one of the big discoveries in recent times. And that's a very significant point, because the only time that water loses that memory of the immolation of the pollutant is through the hydrological system. If the water's not efficiently being cleansed in the hydrological system, if you like, that's a big word for just nature cleaning, then we're ending up ourselves drinking that birth control water, if you like. Not just the fish.
We're all consuming it.
We're all consuming it. Now we're being told we've got to drink the wastewater. Now it's going to be worse. Because what's happening is that water is not being cleansed naturally. By drinking recycled water, all we're doing is filtering it and chemicalising it. We're not letting it go through the proper natural system. The proper natural system removes the memory. And this is something that more and more scientists are talking about, the memory of water. So we need to cleanse that memory of water.
Understand.
Otherwise, we will be drinking stuff that we have no idea about.
I hear you there. So it's a fair call then to suggest that the governments of the world and the world as a whole is not going to jump on this and jump on the polluted water issue tomorrow and save people and help people that require better, cleaner, neater, unpolluted water. So it comes back to the individual,
Absolutely.
To everybody in the street, everybody in Australia is. You need to jump on board as much as you can and take responsibility yourselves. And there are ways to clean the water, but I will admit it's limited to people like yourself. And by crikey, am I grateful for guys like you to be around, because it's little individuals that have cracked it that's going to be able to help us all to provide some decent water for our families and stuff like that.
I think the education comes before the decent water.
Yeah.
If we're not prepared to learn,
Yeah.
then we're not prepared to go to the next step of overcoming these problems.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, it's long been recognised again in the Sydney harbour of how polluted it is. Dioxins and things like that all have effect on our immune system.
Right, right.
Unless that water's been treated naturally.
Yes.
And I'd like to say that really what Granda discovered and did, he created nature's filter.
Yes, right.
We might recognise the word filters, but there's going to be now a nature's filter.
Yeah, yeah.
Which coincides or is sold or used in conjunction to filtration of chemicals, etc.
Understand. So we just need to get the message out to the people that it's more than a filter. Yes, we need a filter, get the garbage out, but Granda, as we know, is the best device for revitalisation and restructure. So if we can get as many people as possible to start using Granda, and then for them to spread the word and to really get it across the country and the world as much as we can, so that the individuals can start to bring water back to life and stop a lot of these diseases and the issues with ladies not getting pregnant and everything else that's associated with it, unfortunately. But hopefully we can crack it and get past it and move on to a better life, and maybe others will follow and clean it up on a bigger spectrum maybe in the future. So thank you, that's brilliant, well done mate.